Hello. You may never see this video because I am trying something completely new and creative, I hope. I have 4 pieces of the white with red dots and 4 pieces of solid red cloth that I found in my scraps. They are approximately 8 inches by 9 inches. A family member of mine sent me photographs of a quilt that she did where she ironed freezer paper on the back and then cut out her design, and the particular one that she had was similar to my star quilt. I'm going to do it similar to my star quilt, but I'm going to use the freezer paper and see how that does. So I will be back after I iron the freezer paper onto the back of these squares. All right, I have the freezer paper ironed to the back side of the material, and I've trimmed it. And this is my crazy design that I'm going to do. We'll see how that comes out. I have no idea, but I hope it'll be good. I have measured down this 9-inch square to find the center, and it is a 4.5 inches, and I put a mark. And then on this side, I put my 4.5 inches, and then I came down to 2 1/4 to divide this in half. And then I have another dividing mark for this half. And that way I can draw this line over to the half and back up to the 1/4. So I'm going to do that first. All right, so there is my first cutting lines. Now I will add the other lines that go from the corner down to the middle and down to the corner. All right, I have my ruler on the straight edge on the corner down to the middle. And now from the middle down to the bottom right corner. I have drawn the design lines on 4 squares, 2 solid red and 2 polka dot red on white. And then I numbered them according to the lines that I'm going to cut first. I don't know why I named them that, but I think that cutting off a big chunk here first and sewing it back together, and then cutting this bottom chunk off and sewing it back together, I think will work. I hope so. So now I'm going to put the print on top of the solid and make the first cut. All right, here is my red, and here is my polka dot. Now let me be sure that they match, and they do. All right, then I'm going to flip them over. Make sure they fit as good as possible. And I'm going to go get a paper clip to hold it together. My paper clips are in place, so now I will cut this number 1 cut. Now is the hard part. Do I sew on the paper? I think not. I'm going to pull it back enough so that I can stitch it. But first, remember, just as in the star, you take the print, move it aside. These two are going to go together, and these two are going to be sewn together. So I'll do that and be back. Before I sew, I wanted to make sure that I get the freezer paper out of the way. So I am folding back so that I have enough room to make my stitching that will not go through the freezer paper. See how I did that? The paper's still there. I can still fold it back the next cut I need to do. Okay, I've sewn the first cuts together and pressed them, and now I'm ready to make the second cut. So we'll put these back together. Carefully flip them over. All right, and now I'm ready to make that number 2 cut down through here. I know I should be using the rotary cutter. That would be easier, I guess. All right, now let's take that and that apart. Take the top one, move it out of the way. That goes with that. So that's the next one. And here is the solid with a V. Okay, I'm almost ready to sew. I have flipped the edge of the paper back so that I can sew this together. Yes. All right, I'm pressing the seam over to the red side because it doesn't show as much that way on the white. Now I'm folding that piece of freezer paper over the seam, and I'm folding this one back over the seam and pressing it down. Okay, now we're ready to make our third cut, and it's off a little bit right now, so I'm going to redraw it. Placing my straight edge on the half mark and on the corner. And as I redraw it, it will make up for where the seams were sewn. Sometimes we have to just redo things. All right, so that looks straight there. Let's do that on this one. Okay, now mark number 3 is our next cut. And our next to the last cut. Okay, so there's that one. And this one. You gotta get out of the way so I won't cut you. All right. And there is that cut. So let's put this one back together and swap this one over here and this one over here, and then flip it, flip it. Okay, I have made this 4th cut, and we will flip these over. Take the top one off and move it to the bottom. And the bottom to the top. And that gives us the little triangles right there. And here. And I was hoping that after I sew this one and this one, that I can put these 2 squares together with the little diamonds in the middle, like that. We'll see if that works. I am pressing the last seam on these new designs. And I like it. I'm going to call it Mama's Influence because of the fact that my mother enjoyed doing quilting so much. And of course, Daddy helped her a lot. I'm not sure if I'm going to put those together that way, but I might. We'll see when I get the other ones sewed and ready to put together. All right, I have 4 squares, and I put them together this way, sewed them, and I want to put a red border all around them and make a table runner. I think Mama's Influence has turned out like I wanted it so far. But I want to put some cording in the end. So let me pull the end down here. And this is going to be a part of a border. And then I want some cording of the dotted material. And what I have done is I've made 2 strips that are a little bit bigger than that, just to add some more depth to it, and I'm matching up the dots. Yes, wanted to see if you could see. All right, so I've matched up the dots. I don't know that you would have to use that second piece. I just wanted it to be thicker. And then I have a thick piece of yarn that I'm putting in. And then I will fold it over to stitch it. And I'll stitch right on the edge of the yarn. This is giving me plenty of extra to stitch onto the end of this piece. And I will stitch this down and come back and show you what it's going to look like maybe. All right, I have the cording stitched right close to the edge of the thread that's in there, or the yarn. So now I'm going to place it this way, right sides together. And my red piece is going to go next. I'm not sure how wide I want it yet, but I've got plenty of room. And then I will pin this, stitch it, and show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, I have stitched on that little cording. I'll cut the ends off later as I add the other pieces. Okay, I'm pressing the 2 side pieces that I added. I am using this material for the back, and I have my batting in there. So now I'm ready to finish pinning everything together. And I'm going to machine stitch on the edges of this next. I used my T-square to mark off 1.25 inches all the way around, and I'm going to cut the edge off and then use this bias tape to go around the edge to finish it off. Well, at the beginning of this video, I told you that you might not ever see it because I was trying my own design, and I'm sure those of you who are real quilters will have seen many mistakes that I made, but I enjoyed trying a design that I just sketched out on a piece of paper and then went from there. I'll use this little table runner somewhere and remember my mom and my dad as they used to do all kinds of quilts. Thanks for watching.